African Symbols of Goodwill by Credo Mutwa.
My friends, my story must here end, that others may continue it, maybe in future years, the God's willing.
Cultures and religions are largely defined by the symbols they use and venerate, and initiation into a particular symbol system helps to shape an individual's identity. Modern theories about the meanings and uses of symbols are derived largely from the pioneering work of Carl Gustav Jung. Jung concluded that not only are symbols of universal significance, but also that they play an important part in the psychic process that influences every aspect of human thought and endeavor. According to Jung, the individual is psychologically healthy when the conscious and unconscious minds are in dynamic balance. African symbolism, however, remains to a large extent an undiscovered key to the understanding of the psyche of the indigenous peoples of this dark continent. Dark and mysterious indeed. The revival of African symbolism has been inspired by South Africa's foremost spiritual leader, Credo Mutwa. In a recently launched community project, various aspects of African symbolism have been explored. The world richly expresses in visual form the belief and aspirations of African communities, dating back as far as the dawn of civilization itself. Symbols are profound expressions of human nature. They have occurred in all cultures at all times and have accompanied the development of civilizations. However, symbols are more than cultural artifacts. In their correct context, they still speak powerfully to us, simultaneously addressing our intellect, emotions, and spirits. Their study is the study of humanity itself.
Africa must be brought back.
Well, hello, all you lovely people. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to say wenches with wrenches, but fellows with fasteners, wenches with wrenches, little super stickerettes. I'm so happy that you've joined me today. Thank you so much. As you can see, it's like a little bit chillier on my side of the globe. So I know you guys in the north, they are kidnapping our sun for another few months again. It's okay. We'll forgive you. Just this once. But anyway, yay. So we're going to be talking about Credo Mutwa, his symbolism, not his symbolism. Let me go back before my tongue runs away with me. He did a community project. I mean, this was done a couple of years back. He passed away literally 2 days. I do believe he was 98 already, or 94, I think, 2 days before lockdown began. And he said he could not bear to live through such evil. So he was choosing to bid the planet farewell. And as he said, it's his time to go. And for those who can continue his work, they have their blessing. They have his blessing. So I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm continuing Credo Mutwa's work, but it really has been on my heart for quite a while now to do stuff on him. You guys now mention him a lot on the show, periodically. He's been such a rock for African spirituality. He was a Sangoma, medicine man, the most highly ordained Sangoma in Africa, and trained many medicine men and women in his time. And we're also going to be doing more shows on that in the future. I'd really like to break that down, because part of it is also understanding the dark underbelly of Africa. Africa has such a nasty underbelly. It really does. The amount of illusion that is cast about and around Africa is so not true, most of it. But a lot of it is. And there's a lot that goes on in the tunnels and with the kids and stuff like that. So Credo Mutwa was really profound in bringing out truths about all of these things. He speaks about Africa having 3 types of lizards. There being 3 types of lizard beings in Africa called the Shitari. The Shitari really, you know, it's, I don't want to go too much into it now because I'm going to digress, but so let me rather leave that for a later time. But it's very, very interesting. And just to see how the African lizards are linked, connected to what we in the West see and are understanding at this point in time. So it's super, super interesting. Anyway, so what I really wanted to do with this is just show you guys some of the beauty of the African culture. It really, really, really is beautiful. You know, when we learn to, and that's why he's created these incredible symbols, 12 of them, and each one has a meaning, and we explain the meaning of the symbols. And that's why symbolism is so profound, because just by seeing that symbol, it speaks volumes. It says everything. It has nothing to do with worshiping it or anything like that. It really is just what the symbol itself embodies. It's like a 1,000-page book that you, when you've understood, when you've read the book, and then you can just put it in one little drawing. And when you see that little drawing, you remember what the 1,000 pages were. If that makes sense to you guys. So we're going to go with the first symbol, actually. And also what I'd like to do is really invite you guys to because what I'm going to do is once we see the symbol and understand, you know, get the meaning of it, to sort of discuss how we use it and integrate it into our daily lives as well. And just to understand what makes, for example, good communication, good leadership, etc. So I'd love to hear your feedback. So please pop your comments in the comments section, in the chat. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Cool. So we'll just go with the first one then. The first symbol that we're going to look at today in Credo Mutwa's African Symbols of Goodwill is the symbol of communication. Or in Zulu, it's pronounced Ukukhulumisana, and in Tswana, it's pronounced Terisano. At the top, there are 2 human mouths that face each other, one on either side of a star. This symbolizes the creativity born between 2 human beings when they talk. The full moon, shining below the water, shows the healing power of dialogue and is flanked by symbols of growth. Yay. So I just love that, you know, communication, because when we look at, for example, the 2 mouths, and what we're going to learn as we go along is that Credo Mutwa was a Zulu man, right? And in the Zulu culture, they actually believe the female, the woman, is the more powerful, for the simple reason that she gives birth and she creates. Although in many ways, the African culture is very, very patriarchal and very, what's that when the men are in control? What's the word? I don't even know that word, and I don't want to know it either. I don't think anyone should be in control of anyone, but dominating, right? So if we look at the 2 mouths facing each other, we notice that they're equal. There's not one mouth looking down and one mouth looking up, right? They're equal. So they're talking to each other as equals, right? With the star in between. And the star obviously symbolizes creativity, birth, beauty, heavenly wisdom. There are many, many meanings. Hope, always hope. The star is always about hope, right? As an Aquarian, our symbol is the star, and it's always about hope. So, but by the same token, right, when we look at the star and the potential for it to implode, explode, disappear, dissipate, whatever, then that too can have an effect on the communication. So to me, that really means about two people, male or female, doesn't matter, having a dialogue with each other. And between them, we must never forget also the Zulu people believe that we come from the stars, right? So there is that birth of potential, creativity, a conversation, an idea. Anything can be birthed from the star. So how do you choose to communicate? And communication is a very feminine energy. If we think about typically women and typically men, women will generally talk about things. I mean, when we pissed off with our partners or getting divorced or whatever the case might be, right? We sit and drink wine or whatever it is, chat on the phone for hours, right? Men were like, kind of do work or often deal with it differently. So what that to me symbolizes is that through communication, hope is born, right? And underneath the water, which is feminine energy, and water flows. And remember, as women, we have around 70% water in our body. As men, maybe just a little bit less. Actually, women, I think 80%. Men, probably about 72. That's on average. That's what we hear. Okay. So water is a very, very good conductor of energy. In fact, energy moves 4 times faster through water than what it does through air. So it is a very good conductor of communication. So through allowing communication to flow, and obviously the moon, the feminine element again, right? And also the moon, think about the moon, sheds light on in the night sky. So when it's all shadowy and dark and everything, there's the beautiful full moon shining some truth in the shadowy aspects of our nature, life, physically, right? Exactly, be the water. So you be water, you allow, and the moon is really in control of the tides, isn't she? So in that way, that energy will really control the tides, which are either going to be choppy and horrific or flowing, because water can be choppy and horrific and very deadly, as we know, right? And then when you see on the sides, that's when growth happens and is flanked by the symbols of growth. So when we communicate, allow things to flow, we give each other hope, we give each other inspiration, we give each other ideas, we give each other understanding, we give each other truth. Truth is what we give each other through communication. And honesty is the highest form of love. So when you are being true to yourself, you are honoring yourself and God. And only when you are truly true to yourself can you be true to another, which means that you then honor the other with the same respect and integrity. And from that place, only growth can come. So yeah, I'd love to hear your ideas on that. And of course, there's also the possibility that everything goes south, right? when there's no communication, wow, we have the opposite of that. Exactly what we do now. Think about how we communicate in marriages and relationships. Most of us, and as men and women, right, we have very different ways of communicating. And communication, I also wanted to add that with the communication, so is not all about words, right, necessarily. Men generally find it more difficult to communicate their emotions with words. And that's why I often say to especially clients of mine or people I'm working with who have that problem, that their partner, father, whatever it might be, boss, doesn't know how to communicate properly or effectively. Well, I say, well, watch their actions. You know, was your dad a good provider? Yes, well, that was his love language. Did he show up for you at sports or school or whatever it might be? That was his love language. So, did he pay for your education? Did he make sacrifices for you? Absolutely. That was his love language. So let's try to communicate not just through words, but let's try and understand that there's many different ways to reach each other. We can communicate telepathically when your third eye is open and you're coming from a beautiful, loving space. That's a way to communicate with loved ones too, alive and dead. It gives you an incredible feeling of truth in your body. That's a communication, because that then communicates itself through your aura. And that your aura is exactly your language, and that's what you're broadcasting to the world all day, every day. So the first thing we need to do if we're having a problem with communication is to understand that about ourselves. So let's see where we've blocked our own communication to ourselves. Where am I not hearing myself? Where am I not feeling myself? Where I'm not listening to myself? And then start listening. And then start acting on what you know you should be doing. And then that opens up the path for clearer communication to enter. Yeah? Good, nice. Okay, I'm not sure if there's anyone has. Well, I don't think I have anything more to say there. Look. I've got one more to do today. And then if there's anyone, yeah, there's one more to do. And then we'll do the next one next week. But yeah, there's one more. The second symbol is the symbol of equality. And in Zulu, it is called ukulingana. And in Tswana, it's called tekano. The sun is shining down on two men and two women. The men are represented by the pairs of triangles, one on top of the other, while the women are represented by diamond shapes. These people are all on the same level, joined by a bond of friendship which makes them equals and not rivals. Absolutely. I'm having a chuckle at the look, Leanne. Perhaps it's like that stare. It's like I always used to, at school, we used to speak about our mother's devil eyes. When your mother gives you that look, you know that those devil eyes, and you like. Anyway. So yeah, equality, ukulingana, and tekano. So the sun is shining down on two men and two women. The men are represented by pairs of triangles, one on top of the other, while the women are represented by diamond shapes. That to me really says, it explains, obviously the sun is very much representative of God, our creator, right? That is shining down on both his creation, right? The male and the female. And the men are represented by pairs of triangles, and the women, one on top of the other, are represented by the diamond shapes. So it's saying to me we are different, right? We are very different. But that's what makes us unique. We are still honored in the same way by our Creator. We are loved and adored in the same way by our Creator. There is no inequality in the way that the Creator has created us. Just love. We are different. But when we come together, we create, and we create more of itself, which makes more beautiful creation coming from the two original shapes, so to speak, the men and the woman. But imagine how many beautiful shapes can be created from that. When we understand we are not yes, we are not rivals, but we are equals. So I always say, it's like two halves coming together, male, female. It's like slotting in. And then we come together. The male has their role, the female has her role. And together we create the complete package. We can create the complete package, right? So when we understand that one is not dominating the other, we are different. Why would I, as a diamond, want to go and try and be a triangle if I'm comfortable being a diamond? Why would the triangle try and be the diamond, knowing it's in loving its experience as the triangle? So let's enjoy the experiences together. Let's share what the experiences are and understand that even if you're an elephant or you're an ant, your purpose is no more important or less important than the other on this planet. So for me, that's what equality and this amazing symbol stands for. Joined by a bond of friendship, which makes them equals and not rivals. So they understand, we come from the stars. We are all stars. That star is that one, that one. We are all a beautiful star. Why would you be jealous of the other star when you are this star? And that's exactly the star you're intended to be. So radiate from your place. Radiate from your heart. Radiate from the place where God lives in you. And then you could never be jealous or threatened by anyone else's star ever again. You understand, we all shine brightly in the sky. And that's really what it is. So it's truly, Steve, we complement each other. We definitely complement each other. It's a beautiful thing. We can't live without each other, really. But somehow, when this whole imbalance between male and female started occurring, now suddenly we start competing with each other and thinking one has to control the other in order to coexist. We play games with each other. We hurt each other. We try to get ahead of the other one. And it's not just relationships, right? Let's talk about the world as well. Let's talk about the corporate world. Let's talk about families. Let's talk about family dynamics, schools. We're taught to compete. That's mostly what we're here to do. The strongest survive. And I say it's not the strongest, but the one that can best withstand change. So what is that change? It's the ability to conform, the ability to understand, the ability to be flexible, the ability to understand and have an open mind where you can communicate and realize my problem is no bigger than yours and yours is no bigger than mine. But we both have a problem right now, so let's talk about it. Maybe we can help each other. See what I'm saying? And I think that, for me, makes a lot of sense. And yes, every man and every woman is a star. We all are. In my opinion, we've just chosen the bodies we have because they serve us in exactly the way they need to right now. Yeah. So I think that's all from me for today. So I hope you guys have enjoyed getting the first two little symbols of Credo Mutwa. And I look forward to chatting with you guys again next week. Same time, I think. Yeah, while JC's away, I'll do this now, and then when she's back, I'll find another slot again. So just watch the space. And yeah, I'd love to hear some feedback. If there's any input you'd love to give, I'd love to hear it. Cool. Thank you, everybody. And Jojo, well done. That's so cool. Jojo has started the yoga challenge. I mean, from doing no yoga, she did 36 sun salutations yesterday, and today another 36. I'm super impressed. Jojo. Well done. And I'm going to see you guys just now. Hour and a half. I've got you guys for yoga anyway. All right, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all in the chat and these familiar little faces. Love you guys. Really, I do. Thank you so much for your beautiful support. And I will see you either on the mat in an hour, or tomorrow is Thursday with Dr. Dennis. Dr. Dennis tomorrow night at 7 o'clock my time. All right, everybody. God bless. And I'll see you very, very soon. And as always, live your life like it's golden. African Symbols of Goodwill by Credo Mutwa.
My friends, my story must here end, that others may continue it, maybe in future years, the God's willing.
Cultures and religions are largely defined by the symbols they use and venerate. An initiation into a particular symbol system helps to shape an individual's identity. Modern theories about the meanings and uses of symbols are derived largely from the pioneering work of Carl Gustav Jung. Jung concluded that not only are symbols of universal significance, but also that they play an important part in the psychic process that influences every aspect of human thought and endeavor. According to Jung, the individual is psychologically healthy when the conscious and unconscious minds are in dynamic balance. African symbolism, however, remains to a large extent an undiscovered key to the understanding of the psyche of the indigenous peoples of this dark continent. Dark and mysterious indeed. The revival of African symbolism has been inspired by South Africa's foremost spiritual leader, Credo Mutwa. In a recently launched community project, various aspects of African symbolism have been explored. The world richly expresses in visual form the belief and aspirations of African communities, dating back as far as the dawn of civilization itself. Symbols are profound expressions of human nature. They have occurred in all cultures at all times and have accompanied the development of civilizations. However, symbols are more than cultural artifacts. In their correct context, they still speak powerfully to us, simultaneously addressing our intellect, emotions, and spirits. Their study is the study of humanity itself.
Africa must be brought back.
Well, I'm back. Hello, everybody, all you beautiful Arrow Tribe members and patrons. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you guys here. And as you can tell, it's getting seriously cold here where I live. Man, it was pouring down with rain this morning. Amazing, though. I love the rain. But we're having a lot of it at the moment, so lots of blessings coming our way. I love that. And of course, the African people believe that rain is a blessing, and certainly the shamans. So I'm sure shaman Credo Mutwa has definitely been sending blessings for this program to occur. It was actually interesting. I don't think I mentioned it on the last show, but when I was sending the stuff through to Mornay for him to edit and do whatever, about 4 or 5 of the ones I sent through went through at exactly 12:12. It was quite interesting. And then he got the message at 12:21 and messaged me back at 12:21. So when you look at those synchronicities, one can't help but imagine that this is blessed, and especially with our rain here today. Yay! Hope you guys are well, and I hope everything is seriously wonderful in your world. I think there's so many changes going on right now all over, right? And lots of things coming to the fore. So look forward to, just seeing what this time brings. Anyway, so we're going to be looking at our third symbol, or the first one of today, which is family. So again, I'd love to hear your guys' feedback in the chat. What do you think? I'm going to obviously just give you my 10 cents worth, or 3 cents worth, or 2 cents worth, whatever you think it might be, on what I believe these symbols are about. It's actually very interesting for me to go through this again, because I remember as a kid, my best friend on the farm was a little African Xhosa girl, and her name was Cindywe. And Cindywe and I used to throw the bones all the time. And, you know, the bones are how the African people talk to the ancestors, and they believe, obviously strongly, that the ancestors are given permission by God to speak on God's behalf to them. So I remember a lot of the things we used to do, and just throw the bones, and just got our answers. It was amazing, actually. Anyway, let's look at the first one today, and that would be family. Family. In Zulu, it's umdeni, and in Swana, it's lelapa. The unbroken rings encircling a hut and a child symbolize safety. The trees flanking it show the development and growth of the family. Under the circle is water, which represents fertility and life. In the center of the water symbol is the creative principle. Well, of course, the unbroken rings encircling a hut and a child within the circle symbolize safety. The African people are very big on family, even though we see a lot of what we see, a lot of the atrocities that occur, that sort of thing, in Africa with child trafficking and kids being abandoned and stuff like that. That's not the natural way at all. The natural way is to take care of your family. So family is very, very much protected. And remember, especially in the Zulu culture, which is Credo Mutwa, his culture, women are equal. In fact, the female is more powerful than the male. And you look at also a lot of the Zulu tribal wars and their history, and some of their most prolific huntresses were women. And when they were at serious war with their neighboring, especially the Xhosas, because they were always at war in the beginning, it was the female assassins that were sent out. So they had very much equality within the warring tribes as well. As you all know, I'm not great on war, definitely not. But I understand it's necessary, and I understand women can be pretty ferocious huntresses, that's for sure. And I think a lot of that has to do with our skilled intuition, our ability to focus. As when we focus, because we're naturally intuitive, it's like our noses lead us to where we need to be and what we need to be doing as well in those dangerous situations. So the female energy is very, very much the protector. So the female energy is the protector of the, and she will do what she needs to do, again, to create safety in the home, while, of course, the men are out hunting and gathering. Yeah. The trees flanking it show the development and growth of the family. Exactly. So trees can only grow when there's enough water, when there's enough nourishment, when the fertility in the soil is good, when the conditions are harmonious, right? We always make sure the conditions are harmonious for growth to occur. So it really is about when the family environment is strong and healthy and flourishing and well nourished, then growth occurs. And if you just look also at the symbol on either side there, it's I want to actually just bring that up again. Sorry, I want to just bring it up here quickly. It might have to play through again though. But if you look on the side, actually, in fact, I'm going to show you here. You can see, there we go. If you look on the side there, those trees are big, right? So they really are protecting the large trees. And if we look at trees, as you know, in nature in itself, you know, it's the way we are, right? We are nature in action. So the trees grow big, they protect us, not just from weather conditions, but it's also symbolic of Mother Nature protecting us. And let's never forget, Africa is seen as the feminine. She's feminine. And Africa is the heart. She's known as the heart continent, right? And a lot of the African tribes, not just the Zulus, have the female as the most powerful of the species, not because she's stronger physically, but because emotionally she has that ability to connect to God, to the ancestors, etc., etc. So women are more venerated in terms of that. And again, the love of a mother, the protection of the mother, the nurturing of the mother is really what grows that environment. Under the circle is water, which represents fertility and life. In the center of the water symbol is the creative principle, right? So there we go. There we go. We have that creative principle there again. And then, which is amazing there. So now we can actually see it quite nicely. The trees on either side that protect the family, but the trees can only grow in the family to protect the family when there's water, which not only in the physical element does it grow, but remember again, 70 to 80% of our bodies consist of water. It's the emotional energy. It's the emotional fuel. So that emotional fuel, when it's fueled, gives rise to the creative element, right, which is in the center, which then supports the family unit as well as protects it on either side. So it starts with protecting the family and nurturing the family. And it's amazing because once we can nurture and protect the family and have that strong family unit, nothing or no one can touch us. We look again at what the Rockefellers did with this whole feminist movement. And, you know, let me just reiterate again, being a strong, independent woman and being a feminist, in my opinion, are two very different things. There's nothing wrong with being a strong, independent woman, but I think the whole feminine principle has been taken way out of context. In fact, in my opinion, it takes away our femininity. It doesn't nurture our femininity, it actually detracts from that. We can have a conversation about that one of these days, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, and I like what you said, they're imperfect, perfect trees. Exactly, imperfectly perfect. I love that, Jojo, because it's so true. The imperfectly perfect trees, because what is perfection? You know, everything is perfect. It is just so perfect. Everything is perfect. And I love what you say, Joanne, as well. Let's get that up. Damn, sorry. Emotional intelligence, exactly, to lead. That is so true, guys. Huh. I think what's happened with a lot of religions is that they've taken the feminine principle out of a lot of the religious teachings. Now, again, I'm not going for Christianity, please. I'm not going for you. I'm just speaking my opinion. But if you look at a lot of, and Christianity is the religion I know best, okay? But if you look at a lot of the religious teachings, there's not much powerful female teachers in the scriptures. It's usually male, right? And a lot of the time they're either prostitutes or someone's mother or someone's wife, right? And I agree that there's a give and take in any relationship. But I think that, my opinion, after I've spoken with Jesse for so many years, they talk about the mothers of darkness, right? The 5 mothers of darkness that were literally the head of the Illuminati in the shadow government. And these were the Queen Mother of Darkness was the one that was receiving the information from Lucifer all night, every night, basically having to delegate then who has to do what in the different quadrants. So it came from the Queen Mother of Darkness. And what Jesse mentioned to me was that the reason why that was in the system was because it really corrupts, probably not the right word, the biblical teachings that man is head of the family, sort of God, man, women, right? And what they've done is they've inverted that. And now in the satanic system, they've made women as head of that system. So it's blasphemy. So it's basically a blasphemy. That's the word I was looking for. And now we know that the Luciferians do everything that is material and physical, and they love blasphemy. But I think it has nothing to do with the physical body of a woman. It has to do with the emotional intelligence. Because if you look at the Luciferian system, there's no emotional intelligence there. Doesn't matter how many women are in there, they do not have emotional intelligence. Their intelligence, their emotions would turn to pain. Remember, pain is the dark side of emotion. Emotion is beautiful. Emotion is joy, it's happiness, it's fruition, it's success, it's celebration, right? It's love. Love is a beautiful emotion. But what do? They take everything and they invert it. And they turn love into pain, right? They turn nurturing from a mother into abandonment and abuse of a mother. There's nothing more painful than being abandoned by your mom, right? So they've taken that physical principle of the feminine and they've corrupted that. They've taken that out. You can't have masculine without feminine and have a creative process going. It's got to be equally. You don't have one creating more than the other. When egg and sperm meet, you don't have more egg and less sperm or more sperm and less egg. They've got to equally connect. So that would be the way it has to be in physical form as well, right? So that's what the Zulu people understand, is that the feminine principle is actually the most powerful principle. She embodies the water, the emotion, the intuition. And when you are aligned and in tune with God, that's how God speaks, is through your intuition. But when your intuition is blocked with all sorts of nonsense, and intuition is your feminine ability, but when it's been blocked with all sorts of nonsense and lies, of course your intuition is going to be scattered and not on point. And that's what the Luciferians love telling you. Oh, your intuition, don't trust your intuition. You must trust your intuition. You must trust your intuition and know when it's off as well. And that's the feminine principle. So it's got very little to do with a woman per se, but it's more about understanding feminine principles and why it's so important to have mom as head of the family unit, because she understands when she is provided for and protected by dad, who's the hunter-gatherer, which is what the male gene is there to do: provide for his wife, provide for his family, protect his little kingdom, because that's what it truly is. That's his little kingdom. Yeah, I agree, Jan. They don't. Churches don't at all recognize the male and female that complement each other. But why? Because the minute they have to explain that in the way that I'm trying to explain it now, and go in much more depth, what happens then? We reclaim our power. That's how we get out of the matrix. We understand that emotion is actually the most powerful feeling to have, and not to have it shut down and told that it's a weakness. Therein lies the problem. Anyway. Well, so, in life, in the center, the water symbol is a creative principle. Exactly. So, through family, through nurturing, through protection, and remember as well from last week, the equality of communication, because when you're communicating equally and fairly and understanding that the star is the star between you and whoever you're communicating with, the star has the ability to create more, create hope, or it has the ability to implode as well, right? And really destroy everything. Communication is so powerful. And when we communicate as equals, even if we have a difference of opinion, we can still respect the difference of opinion. The next one, happiness. Happiness, or in Zulu, Injabulu, and in Tswana, Botumelo. The fire of truth and love burns atop a smiling mouth while the sun shines over the three people, joined together in dance. This represents happiness, or more literally, good, happy dancing days. It can also mean be happy, have a good day. The symbols at the bottom represent growth and eternity. Well, as they're saying there, the fire of truth. And really, I think for me, that's so important, truth. The fire of truth and love burns atop a smiling mouth. When we operate from a space of truth and love, truth is not always easy. Truth is not always pretty. But the truth does set us free. It sets us free. In fact, deception is, in my opinion, not anything bad if you're being deceived or lied to or whatever the case might be. But deception would be more an opportunity to see the truth. Deception is an opportunity of setting yourself free. Once you've understood, deception is merely truth in its polarized form, we can start seeing things differently. So when we're in truth and in love, and honesty is the highest form of love. So truth is the highest form of love, right? Atop a smiling mouth, because when you're in truth and you love, there's no option but to have a smiling mouth. The mouth just smiles of itself. It doesn't even have to try, right? I mean, think about all of you sit there now and be in truth and love, right? And happiness. Think about that. You can't help but smile. That is just the way the human body is. We get up like that. So we laugh and we smile, and we're obviously raising our vibration to that of being happy. While the sun, of course, the sun, the creative force, shines over the three people again. Three, trilogy, right? Three is a very important number. Excuse me. Join together in dance. Now, the one thing African people love to do is dance. You're always going to find them dancing. Even when they're toying and they're angry and they are rioting and they are pissed off with whoever it is, they will be toying, dancing and doing their thing. Dance is such a part of African culture. They laugh at us because we can't dance. But the ones I know, with love. But as a kid, I used to, whenever there was an occasion, I used to dance with them. So I learned the African rhythm. I learned the African vibe. It was very fun for me. I mean, I used to walk up to our laborers' houses, right? And there was one, his name was April, okay? Pronounced April. And he was always, his job was to take care of the cattle and the milking and stuff like that. And every time I went to the houses, he had made himself a tin guitar and he would serenade me. And he would sing. Chanti, he used to call me Chanti, little Chantal. Chantal with a Y at the end is little. So little Chantal. And he would sing and sing and sing to his heart's content. And he would dance around. He would be celebrating every time I went to their houses. And I was so embarrassed, And he said to me, "You're our little queen." He would always say to me, "You're our little queen." And it was amazing, Just the joy in which they celebrate life. There they were living in apartheid South Africa, laborers to the white colonizers. Here I am, the little white colonizer's daughter, waddling up and down there, hanging out with them, and just being the little queen and being serenaded by African people, teaching me how to throw the bones, teaching me how they put the cow dung on the floors and why and how. And it was amazing. What the rest of the world thinks is savage is so not. It's people living off the earth. It's people living alongside the earth. It's people living alongside animals. And that's really what this is about. So this represents happiness, or more literally, good, happy, dancing days. It can also mean be happy, have a good day. The symbol at the bottom, of course, which again is water, represents growth and eternity. So look at that. The growth and eternity are forming, on the side, the tree on the side again is forming that beautiful trees and almost like a boat, right? With the water in there. That is that dancing, nourishing, feeding, enjoying, playing with, being a part of, understanding that we are all a part of nature. We are all a part of nature. We are not above nature. And that's what I think many of us need to understand. And if there's one thing I can say about the African people, remember, as I said, Africa is a heart continent. The African people operate from the heart. And I think that's where so many misunderstandings have come over the years, is that the West is more intellectual, right? Universities, education, blah, blah, blah. I'm afraid that much of the West has lost the heart. So Africa has the heart. And very often, when the narcissist comes and says, "Give me your heart," I'm going to be very good to you. That's what happens. And I'm afraid that's how Africa lost a lot of its good fortune. But I'm certainly not saying the African people are blameless, not at all. We have to find balance. We have to be able to say no. We have to put down that boundary. We have to be able to trust those who are good and those who are not. We have to be able to be strong enough to stand up to the leaders and say, "Screw you," because the African people also have a great, they have a great respect for their elders. And if you look at our politicians, they're all way in their 70s. They should so be gone by now. They should so be gone by now. And of course, they make these disgusting laws in this country, and the African people bow down to the elders. It's really what they're doing. And that's why they're able to get it like that. So yeah, there's got to be that balance between IQ and EQ, right? So In my opinion, that's what we need to do. Boundaries. And at the same time, flexibility. That's why we do yoga. Cool. Next one is love. Love. In Zulu, Utando. Tswane, Lerato. The burning piece of wood represents the fire of truth and love. The moon and sun are joined in sacred marriage. The symbol of the Earth Mother is drawn horizontally with tails like a fish, showing that it has neither beginning nor end. It is flanked by two tall trees which symbolize growth. At the bottom is a knotted string representing two people linked by an unbreakable bond. Love, the greatest of us all, or the greatest feeling of all. And again, also one of the most abused feelings, right? How many people see love as a love for something or someone else? And often that love is abused, and then love and pain become synonymous. But that's not really love. That's conditional love. Conditional love, right? We're talking about love from our Creator, love from the universe, love from our ancestors who've passed away. I always say if we could for 1 second of the day feel how much God loves us, we could never think a bad thought about ourselves ever again, no matter how terrible you might think you are. So the burning piece of wood represents the fire of love and truth. And of course, fire, wood, burning, eternity, right? So that, I think that was in the past symbol as well, the fire of truth and love. So when truth and love are united, there's and that's what we call in yoga the Agni. It's your inner fire. It's the natural heat that keeps your body temperature regulated, right? So it's the same thing. Sometimes you're going to burn bright. Other times you just need to have a few coals. You just want to cool warm. You know, other times it's just kind of like smoking away there. Different temperatures at different times. So the fire of truth and love will always be burning. Okay? The moon and the sun are joined in a sacred marriage. Moon and sun, of course, being the masculine, feminine elements. So always the masculine, feminine elements are united and equal. The sun gives heat and sustains life force during the day. The moon shines her light in the night sky. She highlights the shadowy bits of what you need to see. She takes you into the shadow aspects of who you are. When the sun is too bright, the moon will come in, right? So it's that yin-yang, male-female principles at play all the time. And that is the way that it is. And when they're balanced, right, that's when we can see the beauty and the equality within the other. Even if you're an ant, when you have that understanding of the yin-yang principle, that there's balance in everything, you don't have a desire to crush a bug ever. Well, I still kill mosquitoes. I do. I can't help it. I tell them to stay away, but they don't. So they're not going to get smacked. And I feel bad. I do. Anyway, so this, okay, then of course the sun and moon are joined in sacred marriage. The symbol of the Earth Mother is drawn horizontally with tails like a fish. Isn't that beautiful? Because the earth, of course, being solid, right, with the tails like the fish, so it also symbolizes the water. So fish being in water, right, the triangle being the creative, I'm not thinking of the other one. Okay, the earth being the solid principle, so you have that solidity of the support of the earth with the water element underneath it, right, that gives it life and sustains it. Okay, and which either it has neither beginning or end, and the fish is also the Christian principle, remember that. So it has with no beginning or end, and flanked by two tall trees which symbolize growth. And again, we're talking tall trees. So love through everything, when we burning in truth and love, when we've understood the combination of the opposing forces, the sun and the moon, male and female, the equality, and what it takes to support that, to nurture that, right? That life really and love really has no beginning and has no end. It's represented in each and every element that there is. And of course, again, the two tall trees which symbolize growth. And the bottom at the bottom is a knotted string representing two people linked by an unbreakable bond. That is always really beautiful because we are one. None of us are separate. Even if we think we are. So when we judge another, we judge ourselves. When we try and harm another, we're actually harming ourselves. When we steal from another, you're stealing from yourself. When you try and hurt another, you're hurting yourself. And I think all of us can attest to that. Might be easier to go off and try and blame someone because, of course, it's much easier to blame someone. And I'm not saying that they aren't worthy of blame, but ask yourself what equal part you've played in contributing to that scenario, even if it has been in a passive way. You get the aggressor and you get the passive one. Right? That's how we start understanding how energy works and when it comes to the masculine and feminine principles. So I love being linked to all of you with an unbreakable bond of love. I'm very grateful that you've joined me today so we can share some of our beautiful African wisdom, which I really hope all of you are enjoying because it's a very beautiful place. And for those of you who haven't been to visit my beautiful continent yet, I really hope to see you here. It's an incredible place. It has incredible people. I do believe we are the breadbasket of the world. So no, you won't be seeing me in America. But I hope to be seeing you here. Right? Okay, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to see it because we're creating exactly, yeah, Jan. And what you were saying, yeah, Jojo, as well. Our painful part is one's truth-taking responsibility. Yeah, but once we do that, it's so easy. It's so easy to forgive. It's so easy to let go because you view things so differently to the way that you would have when you feel like a victim. Being a victim and feeling like a victim is horrible. It is horrible. And I'm not underplaying that or undermining that at all. It's a very real and very horrible feeling. But I really hope that each and every one of us will understand we actually are not a victim, no matter what has happened in our lives. We are here right now. We have the ability to, connect spiritually, stand strong in the truth of who you are in spirit, and that is going to support you through each and every obstacle in life. You'll be able to walk through any gauntlet with ease. I will come there, Linda. I definitely will. But all I'm saying is I'm not going to live in America. No chance. Or anywhere else for that matter. if there's only going to be if there's going to be any country that I'll go and live in, it'll be Namibia. My neighbor that used to be South Africa, place my soul calls home. I'll go live there for sure. But I don't see. No, Africa, we're good. But I will be visiting you guys. Exactly. Don't let yourself be a victim. And I'm thinking about organizing something in Africa where we can get together and give enough time for everyone to get their funds together. And it's actually very, very cheap for you guys to come here because our rand dollar is not, it's very weak for us, strong for you guys. So you just got to get your asses here, right? Get your asses to Africa, man. We'll show you a nice thing or two. I won't take you to the witch doctors, I promise. But I might show you a sangoma. Okay, guys. God bless you all. Always such fun hanging out. I'm going to see you back in an hour when I have Myrna on. Myrna Luther. Myrna, if you guys remember, was on about a year ago, actually, maybe just more. And also family abuse, addiction, stuff like that. So I'm catching up with her a year later to see where her life is heading now. And it's in a beautiful place. So I hope to catch you guys in an hour. Take care, everybody. God bless you all. See you next week. Thank you. Bye.